So, Homer, you want to start with the roll?
Hunter, City Council member.
Doug, Allison.
Brian Schwan.
Jeff Adelson.
Has everyone seen the minutes?
Move to approve the minutes from September 3rd, 2024.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Staff have anything to bring up before we get started?
Not at this time, no.
All right, first project on the agenda is the revised site plan for Buffalo Ridge Apartments. The applicant would like to make a presentation. I'll answer any question you want.
Mike Brand, I'm new on the project. Do you have any questions?
What changed from last meeting, the September 3rd meeting, to now?
So we went back and spent a little time and did a little drawings on the south side. You guys were looking for some color on the south side, basically backed up to Kellogg. And after going through it, we didn't find anything that looked as good as what we already have based on the building that we already built out west. And so I just decided to stick with what we already got because I think it's a great look, and there's brick out there. It looks good now. When it's landscaped nice, trees in there. It's a white, bright look and looks good.
Isn't this a bigger building than what you've done in the past?
No, these are the exact same size that we built out there at 135th Street and 13th.
Same height?
Same height, 3 stories, correct.
But there's more brick on this, it seems like.
Well, this one here has the deck pillars going up to it. So you are going to see a little more brick on it.
Will that be the same as this one that you're planning for here?
They, it's a, let me back up. So the posts that are holding the deck are on the ends of the building, not on the side. Just because and the stairs goes up on each end of the building. If you go back to that picture, you'll see the one previous. You're in the clubhouse right now. See on the ends of the building where there's posts coming up, there's kind of like a little awning thing at canopy roof on the ends of the building.
Mm-hmm.
They will be bricked up there. And on the buildings we did out west, we didn't have any brick on the ends of the building because there wasn't no deck there.
So you're saying there is brick that's not shown on this drawing?
No, that is the drawing right there.
Okay.
And what's labeled here on this screen that we're looking at, the back elevation, that's what's going to be facing Kellogg?
Correct. So on the middle picture will be the back side of the building facing Kellogg.
I drove out to the site of his Liberty Gardens project on Sunday, and the drawings here are a little bit deceptive. It has a lot of variety in it, that there's the typical 4-foot wainscot, then it goes up to a 1.5-story wainscot, back down to 4-foot wainscot. He's got some variety of siding and some relief within that elevation where those the higher wainscot areas project out a bit, it's not as bland as it appears from the plan view. I think his photographs are really a much better example to look at, that the relief from all the different building materials and the different planes in that face of that elevation.
I get all that, but we're not getting that same treatment.
It's not the same. It doesn't have the columns, but it still has that relief in that story and a half, back down to 4 foot and up to
But it's
Story
not a
and a half.
story and a half. It's one story.
the bottom of the windows on the second story.
No, on this it is, but on what we're looking at is not.
It's shown to the bottom of the windows just like that.
On two
Yeah, I guess.
columns or whatever, is that what you're
Right.
referring to?
There's
Les?
some variety to it, I think, is what's important.
Any questions or comments from the committee?
Will there be a separate landscaping plan brought, or is the landscaping plan already done?
That was already a part of the original approval. And the landscaping of the Founders Parkway frontage and the berm across the street are prescribed in the PUD.
Any other discussion or motions or?
I mean, I guess I'll say that, one, my people that I would count on to, I guess balance my opinion on this, Todd and Kevin are gone. We've got Doug, that's kind of the brains of the operation of this group as far as color and that kind of stuff. I feel like it's still kind of plain Jane, right? I mean, I'll just be honest with you. As far as me being the layperson, not a developer, that kind of thing, the community, it's plain Jane to me. It seems to match a lot of the Cornerstone, a lot of the Ritchie color palettes, if you will, the beige and stuff that we have around town. And so, I mean, that'll be, I guess, my comments on it. I understand what Les was saying about the difference in pattern, vertical, horizontal, but still that same color. And I appreciate the one picture there where it does break up the brick, because I think it does look a little different in the picture in person than it does on this plan. However, we're not getting that wood. Am I understanding that correctly? In this picture here, none of those timbers or anything are going to be on this building, correct?
That is correct.
With that said, if I think site plan structurally, that kind of stuff, that's probably, what we're here for. I don't know, Doug, you've been on the group the longest. If I don't really want to stand in the way of a business coming to town, if I'm really opposed to beige, again, that's my personal opinion. If the owner wants to do beige or plain Jane, if you will, for lack of a better definition, I'm okay with that, I guess. So it's, again, I feel like his decision to do it that way. So that's it as far as my discussion. It wasn't so much a discussion as it was a statement, but. Mr. President, Director,
Yes.
seeing no more discussion, I guess I would move to approve, the Buffalo Ridge Apartments final site plan.
Second.
Is the English, I mean, is that all correct? I didn't see an outline, but I've done it a few times. So.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. So I think we passed 3-1. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Next on the agenda is the preliminary site plan for the residences at Heritage West. Do we have an applicant?
I don't see anyone present to represent this application. This is a sketch plan for a senior apartment project in the Heritage. Staff, engineering, fire department have made a lot of comments on the sketch. The majority of the comments are things that would be cleaned up at the final site plan. There are several comments that I've made about prescriptive requirements from the planned unit development with regards to separation, berms, landscaping that were in the text of the PUD, mostly adjacent to the existing residential neighborhood. I think maybe the designer wasn't aware of those prescriptive landscaping requirements, and they should be pretty easily adjusted.
So it looked like in the info that was provided, they had a different floor plan at one time.
I think they're working on the final floor plan.
So it looked like there was like a,
You're talking about that color picture versus
yeah,
the
like a
plan.
U shape versus a big long box.
So in that first page, that top left like colored picture is, I guess maybe the shape of a C
That was the conceptual plan
from the
that the
Heritage.
land planner just drug in from 5 years ago when we started the Heritage, and now we have an owner and a builder who has a plan. There was some discussion at the city council about making sure that this is a 60 unit design you see today, that there is room for an additional building, which is kind of that blank space just to the north of Founders Parkway there on the south edge of the parking lot. So it's expandable to another building of some sort. The planned unit development allows many more dwelling units.
Les, walk me through on the it's in bold here on the bottom, right there by Founders, but the 40-foot 2-story height restriction. What is that? I mean, what markings is that referring to?
In the planned unit development text, there was a requirement that no buildings higher than 2 stories were allowed within 100 feet of the residential properties. So you'll see that these taller buildings are set back 100 feet plus, and they've actually oriented their building locations to be more away from the surrounding single-story residences.
And then back to the reference of the picture, the conceptual picture. Is that conceptual picture there with the trees and landscaping around it? Would that be accurate depiction of what is required of the
For the,
owner?
for the perimeter landscaping, yes, it's a pretty good representation.
I guess I'm most concerned about and again, the applicant's not here, so hopefully they're listening, them and the three other people on YouTube or whatever channel. I guess I'm most concerned about the planning, the screening from the west side of the park, west and north side of the property. So I'm pretty sure that would be the ones that have the most
Sure. So
residents.
I
So.
clipped the text from the PUD and put it in my comments there under that conceptual drawing. It's capital letter D. It says the landscaping shall consist of a 3-foot berm and 5-foot cedar trees every 15 feet along Willowbrook Street and Sunflower Lane. So it's pretty prescriptive. Now it's just a matter of matching that up to their site plan, which should be really simple.
So will Founders Parkway ever connect with Sunflower?
Yes, that project is in design now to connect over to Andover Road.
So I think my only comment architecturally is I appreciate the way they're trying to break up their box, but I would like for them to actually change some plane a little bit where those material changes occur, even if it's just a foot or two.
Yeah, it's a little hard to see in their drawings if there is any relief in that face.
Doesn't look like there
It,
is.
it
but-
looks like perhaps right above the entrance that might be a little bit of relief, but it's really hard to tell from their drawings.
Yeah,
And maybe that area with the little roof projection at the second floor level could maybe be bumped out a foot or two just for some relief in the big
Yeah.
box.
it seems like there should be some opportunity to do something to break it up a bit more. I mean, the materials do okay, but I think if there was a plane change, it would help a lot.
Those shadows work wonders.
As far as so this is senior living, I mean, I get that. Is that the right parking spots for that capacity? It seems like an awful big parking lot, but maybe that's just the way it looks. I don't know. I mean, it is going to be 4 stories at some points, right?
Only 3 handicap spaces are required up to 100 spaces.
Only 3 what?
Handicap spaces are required.
How many per unit? How many spaces? So like 1 per living unit or?
I believe the requirement is 1.5 for senior
Oh.
living.
Okay,
So that's the 90 that they've come up with there.
okay.
So what happens then when they go to put an extra building on here and there's, go ahead.
There will be additional parking required. What that looks like, we don't know.
Might be a parking garage.
It could be garages on the ground floor. That's really popular in senior living facilities right now.
Okay. So like in that case, like that example, you would have 4 stories. The first story would be garages.
Right,
Possibly.
similar to the senior living facility on the south side of Kellogg that you looked at
Okay.
a couple of years ago. The
All
ground
right.
floor
I've
there
slept
is-
since then, Les.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm constantly reminded of it every time I drive by. And Jolene asks me about it.
Good job, Julie.
So is there a buffer required on any of this?
There's no requirements for buffers beyond the PUD text.
Okay.
And then directly to the east, is that like park?
Yes, that's a dry detention area with a walking trail around it.
Okay. I guess the one thing I understand like the Skylofts and stuff has a straight roof, and Doug, correct me if my terminology is incorrect, but flat roof versus this is close to residential. Is there any way to get like a combination of a pitched roof and, a flat roof? I don't know. Just trying to get more blend to the neighborhood that's going to be on the west side of this. Granted, there's 100 stall parking lot in between all of that, before you get, so there's,
And it's 4 stories.
and it's 4 stories.
The whole architectural concept of the Heritage Project is flat roofs.
It's probably wood framed, isn't it?
4 stories is, I don't know. It may be steel and concrete.
I was gonna say, if it's type 5 construction, they're probably already at their limit for height.
Mhm. Don't have those details yet.
Got a lot of jazzies moving around in there.
Anything else?
Is color going to be the same as the lofts, or are we even there yet? We don't even know.
We're not there yet.
So again, if you're listening, can you make it pop a little bit? Thank you.
Do we know what the material is between, so there's a material change around some windows and then between the windows, between floors, I guess. Do we know what that is?
Fiber cement trim band, wood beam eyebrow. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, below right below. 2 windows.
Wood beam eyebrow. I don't know if that means natural wood or what that means. That's some more of those details we aren't down to yet.
So what's the intention of tonight? To just kind of give our 2 cents, or?
Right. This is one step above the cocktail napkin sketch.
The applicant specifically said they just want your guys' thoughts on what they have so far for a future submittal.
And then was there going to be I thought there was going to be, maybe when it was described to the city council back when we did this approval, that there was going to be some kind of outdoor, I guess I would call it a patio. So that's what the 3-story, okay. So on that, Trey, stop moving. the west entry there on the right side, that's going to be, is that top of the third story there on the right side? Is that going to be like a patio to overlook towards the skylofts? Do we know any of that yet?
I think those are details we don't know yet.
Okay. I mean, if I was in senior living, I'd like something like that just to be able to, look out on.
Sure. I know it was really important to them that the building face that reserve area
Mhm.
and that they're connected to that sidewalk around the reserve.
I guess I would also say that, I mean, based on what we see here, it doesn't look like they're skimping on the landscaping, but it seems like a thoughtful landscaping plan would be important here. So,
In these drawings, and maybe it's on the one before. So we have exit doors on the east side, which would be the back. Is there any kind of sidewalk there planned?
I believe that's what they're showing there is that area opposite the front entry would connect to the patio on the backside. And it definitely would have to connect on both the north and the south.
no, it's kind of interesting. It looks like there is a
Right, it's hard to tell from,
outside,
what
like an
we have
exercise
there.
room or something, but it doesn't look like there's a door there. So I don't know.
I'm guessing from those symbols, is that an exercise room, Doug?
That's what
Yeah, when I zoom in, it looks like treadmills and stuff.
Right,
it looks like.
But then on the,
so I would think they would want a door to the outside from that exercise room.
but on that east elevation there, I don't think it looks like those. I think those are just windows.
Yeah, that's the way it's shown.
Right, it calls it out as storefront glass. It would make sense to have some connection from the middle of the building rather than just those required exit doors.
Unless it's a security thing, but to have one entrance for the whole building, because I see entrances on either north and south of the building. I just don't see one on the east side. And I don't see a sidewalk on the east side in the other drawing. There's no is there a requirement for a sidewalk on the east side?
Doesn't look like it.
I can't imagine.
That's
I'm
one of
catching
those
something I
details
didn't.
we'd have to get down to in exiting on the final plan, the exit distances and so forth. But we can always take this suggestion back to the designer.
What are the pathways around the Heritage
10 foot.
Park? They're 10 foot.
Yeah, it's got 10-foot bike ped paths looped around the parks. Combination, some are 5s, some are 10s, but it essentially has sidewalks on both sides of the streets. I think it's very important that this facility is well connected to the rest of the heritage for pedestrians, and bicycles.
So what's the closest grocery store to here? I mean, Brahms?
Probably Brahms right now.
And then you're crossing Andover Road at Douglas? Is that, sorry, I guess, is that my only
Kellogg,
crosswalk?
Kellogg, you mean?
There will be,
Oh, Andover.
there will be a crosswalk at Founders. with-
Okay.
With that last phase of Founders from Andover Road over to this project. Be a traffic light there. And then
What
When-
time frame
Wait.
is that?
when the freeway is built, there would be the bridge to cross over to get the south side of Kellogg.
What is the timeline of this project? And how does that line up with the timeline of Founders Parkway crossing being done?
We understand that this is a now project, that they're moving ahead to final design and hope to get in construction soon. Founders Parkway is a 2026 project in our schedule. So
So potentially this,
probably the completion of this project is the beginning of the remainder of Founders.
so we're looking at a year, possibly two, of Douglas being the closest crosswalk to get across Andover Road
Yeah, I think.
to
a
get
year-
south to go to Brahms for some groceries or something like that, right?
Yes.
Or all the way up Yorktown and go down Central to Dollar General, Dollar Tree, Walgreens. I guess I'm just trying to think senior living.
Sure,
You know,
sure.
what's
It's kind of a.
my mom's in there, you know, what is she driving to
Mine
these
too.
places and
Mine too.
or sorry,
I
Brian,
think it's-
closest liquor store for my mom, maybe.
I think it's all that culmination of all of these projects coming together in the next 2 years or so. And, who's to say what might be in the heritage in the next 2 years?
Sure.
We know there's a quick trip that will sell a lot of grocery items. What else is to come there? Will there be a meat market, or we know there's a coffee shop? Those are all of the amenities that Heritage is in this odd place right now, chicken or egg. Is it the residences that come first or the retail that comes first, because they both feed off each other?
Any other comments? Okay, so we don't need to take any action, right? We're just offering suggestions.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Moving on to the next project then is a sign plan for 415 South Andover Road. We have an applicant for that. All right.
Kevin Himes, Luminous Neon for Goodwill. And open for questions. I don't really have a presentation or anything.
Just changing out the font, basically.
Yeah, new letters. Those are falling apart.
And then instead of whatever the lettering sign is below the Goodwill out there on Andover Road, is
Yeah.
changing to a video board, is that?
Yeah, EMC. Yeah. Comparable size to a lot of them down Andover Road. I've checked all those out, and
Would that be comparable to the one that we less that we did with the Andover Road Improvement Grant there. Maybe the Douglas southwest corner or whatever. So that size board.
Is it the Andover Office Center?
I believe so.
That one's about a 4x6,
And this one's going to be,
be 4x8, so
okay.
a little bit bigger.
And what's the, I guess, light requirements? Is there, I'm just comparing it to other signs in town. Like when I see Myers sign, the bright blue or whatever, I believe is one at night that kind of just draws attention to my eyes.
We have pretty prescriptive standards for the lighting levels. I think the Myers Automotive is probably,
The brightest
in your mind, seems the brightest just because of the color.
blue. Okay.
Also, the age makes a difference. If you got a new board compared to a 5-year-old board.
I thought you were going to mean
The
like if
te-
you got a 40-year-old person looking at it versus a 23-year-old person looking at it.
There's always that.
That has a lot to do with it.
But the technology on these things changes by the minute.
So it's a requirement that we have it, or it's prescriptive. It's not in here.
Right. It's prescriptive. It's in the UDM. All of the sign companies we deal with understand those prescriptive lighting levels. And from time to time, we'll get an overzealous owner who will go in and program something on their own, and we have to call them back a little bit.
Questions, comments, motions?
I mean, my one comment would be I really appreciate the before and after
Mhm.
pictures that you provided. It really helped me. And yeah, that was my only question. As long as staff knows, and these guys know the candle rating, I don't see a need to provide it unless you do, Doug.
We have papers from Watchfire. We deal in only Watchfire EMCs, which is the top brand in the country right now. And they provide maximum and minimum measured by nits. And I do not know what that stands for. So daytime nits, 10,000, nighttime, 750. So it goes way down. And those are all automatically adjusted and can be adjusted by the owner.
Is the building getting repainted?
I do not know. I know they'll redo that fascia where the letters are,
Yeah.
but I don't know about the rest of the
Okay.
building.
That's my main concern, just the,
I would hope
with
so.
the background of the old letters.
Yeah, where the old letters were, it'll get patched up and repainted. I'm not sure if it's just going to be that peak or the whole building. There is there are a couple more drawings. There is a drawing of the pole sign in there, should be, and then there's donations drive through. That's an unlit flat panel. Fairly simple.
And that's not considered a pole sign.
It's a wall sign.
No, the main
Oh.
one with the ENC.
It
We
is
had
a
this discussion
pylon.
last time. Pylon, pole
Yes.
sign.
It is a pylon, and those are allowed within 500 feet of the highway, up to 35 feet tall.
And this is in 500 feet of the highway.
Yes.
Will there be anything done with landscaping around the base of that pylon sign?
There's some stuff I stepped in recently, but I don't know if they plan on doing anything new.
Honesty hurts.
Just based on your picture, I mean,
It's
you know,
bad.
maybe a bush and I guess there is bushes there. It just,
There is, and I think you'd be better off with nothing there than what's there now.
Yeah.
Just to be honest.
There is landscaping required around the base of a sign, so that's why there is existing landscape. I think you're onto it, that it probably needs a refresh.
is that something that we can require with this?
Absolutely.
So there was an approved landscape plan at some point for
Yes.
that. And we're just saying that it's not surviving like it probably should have. So if we just had. them
Looks like it's probably the
Place it.
typical crimson pygmy barberries and burning bushes. And some sort of a low spreader evergreen. They really don't look too bad in this
So-
photo.
Were you looking at street view or what?
I was thinking street view needs to be,
The photos that were provided,
Oh.
the plantings look like they're pretty much in place.
oh, there you go. See, like, I guess my thing would be to cover up that, but.
Yeah, it would be nice. But I guess it, I don't know. If they're meeting the requirements now, is there much we can do about it?
We'd have to go back to that original approved landscape plan and see if they're all still in place. If I had to guess, I'd say some overzealous landscaper probably took care of some plants that are supposed to be on the street side to cover up the irrigation PVB and controller box.
Mr. President.
Mhm.
I move to approve the sign plan for Goodwill located at 415 South Andover Road, Andover, Kansas, with the modifications that staff approve the photometric plan once provided and go back to the original landscaping plan to make sure that the street view landscaping provides cover for the sprinkler and gray box that are provided in this picture.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Does staff need anything else on that?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir.
Sign plan for 225 East Cloud Avenue.
Looks like we do not have an applicant for this one, but I'm happy to share on it. So it'd be replacing the current pharmacy drive-through sign with an updated sign, as well as pharmacy drive-through and pickup as well. They'd be adding a new sign to another one of their pickup locations for the grocery pickup. Staff has reviewed it, have no issues or concerns.
Are these, just to be clear, there's only two signs we're approving on this?
Correct. One would be an update, and then we would be adding the second sign would be a new sign.
On that update, is the current one lit up? And will the new one be lit up? So just like it says there on the plans provided. Thank you, Les.
So just the letters are illuminated and the blue is just a panel.
Correct.
It seems like the pharmacy drive-through.
I remember
Pickup
the,
sign is rather large.
I remember the little RX is lit up on the existing sign.
The sign size is prescriptive though, right? I mean, it's,
There are maximums, and we're nowhere near the maximums because it's based on a percentage of the front elevation of the building. Remember, this building is 400 and some feet long and 20 some feet tall.
I guess my only comment with the drive-through one there is that they raise the bottom of it up so it doesn't interfere with that brick soldier course.
the brick what?
The brick break in the middle.
Right.
Oh, okay.
See, they're the vertical soldiers.
At least I guess that's what that is.
Well, can they because of the, is that a security camera on the top of it?
That's what it appears to be. I don't know, their canopy on the grocery pickup cuts into that soldier course, so they haven't done a real great job of preserving that. Again, it's a huge building.
Mhm. Entertaining motions.
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
Again, seeing no photometrics, as long as I move to approve the sign plan for Dillon's located at 225 East Cloud Avenue, Andover, Kansas, as long as those photometrics meet staff's recommendations.
I second.
So can we make a comment about the soldier course?
What, I guess I'll pause my motion real quick. So what happens if they can't raise it up because of that camera?
I think they can, but it's probably only 4 inches that it needs to raise up. It's probably not perfectly to scale, so
Okay. So back to my motion.
I'm sure they can adjust their sign a tiny bit if they need to.
If we could just make sure that the sign's above the soldier course. That would be great as well, and staff can approve it.
Is the second.
Re-second that,
approved?
Jeff.
Accept that. I accept that.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. I guess this isn't on our agenda, but are there any member items?
I had a blast at Greater Andover Days.
I saw you're redistributing candy.
I know, right? It's doing my best. I had to hoof it after the city Bobcat went out on Tim and I. I don't know if that was because we were overworking it or what, but I had to push it into the fire station because we lost power halfway through the parade. So that was fun. I don't think I have anything for this meeting.
I don't have anything.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Any opposition? We'll be adjourned then.